Calling you a radical. Let's explain inflation and why we have such hyper crazy inflation. Let's see, dump $5 trillion flooded liquidity into the economy in less than 2 years. From 1865 till the year 1999, Party Likes 99, we ran less than 3 billion. In 18 months, we just dumped 3 trillion. We dumped 5 trillion of liquidity. 5 trillion. 5 trillion. Capitalism? Socialism? I don't think it's either. We can keep debating until the face it's imperialism. Give them more freaking cake. I mean, the PPP situation. I mean, what about debt? When it was a fiscal Republican, I was taught here I was the #1 school business in the United States. In Party Like It's 1999. I graduated here in the 90s when I taught here. What happened? I said for years, you name this school Wattis, you start accepting all this money from these, let's reflect, you start accepting all this money from these rich war profiteering oligarchs in the United States, they're going to get influence over our school. Buffett came in here, Bill Childs sold R.C. Willys to Warren Buffett. He come in here, the Wattis curse, and says, I said, no, I fought this shit out of them. The Wattises are some of the greatest war profiteers in history. You know, Utah Construction. The Val Browning Center's right over there. Whoa, when they renamed everything on these public universities, I'm like, they're going to gain influence over. They don't, they're going to teach imperialism. You know, it'll be over. Remember when I ran the radio show there? 88.1 the beat. How did they tore that down? They got rid of it all. So hyperinflation. In the year of 2000, in the fall when the market capitulated on March 10th, Ayn Rand greenspan started slashing the rate. I did the PPI and the CPI for the state. I worked for a hedge fund I taught here, #1 school business in the country. I'm like, he's lowering when he should be raising. They've done it for 22 years. Real simple. No classical medicine. #1 Volcker. He lectured here, about that tall, cigar smoker. We took our classical medicine in the Reagan recession, and it was nasty. Raised that interest rate to 40%. It hurt for a little while, but it created the most prosperous generation in history. Late 80s and 90s, no inflation. Surplus. Then what happened? Ayn Rand Greenspan just kept his freaking slashing. They've slashed for 22. The natural rate is 7%. The rule of doubling. Over. So we can keep debating socialism, capitalism, communism. None of the above. Global imperialism. Oh boy. 2000 to present. Ask Tsar Putin. Ask King Z. Ask wannabe freaking King Trump. Ask Barry Antoinette. We love Obama Trumpettes. Interest rate in 1999, 7%. It's zero for 22 years. We flood the whole market with trillions of PP loans that just got looted and ripped off. 5 trillion in 18 months. What do you think is going to happen? Of course, it's going to be hyperinflation. Kids, economics 101. You flood liquidity, the byproduct is inflation. You got to do it temporary. Is 22 years temporary? Let's ask them on the Patriot Act. The Supreme Court ruled that they can NSA, they can do whatever they want to, Google to the First Amendment, whatever, under the mantra of the Patriot Act, because it's temporary. Patriot Act's 21 years old. Ayn Rand Greenspan slashing the rate temporary for 22 years. Is that temporary? Mission accomplished. What? The debt's under third. I remember doing a lecture right here in 2011, right before I got cancer. Fukushima. And this is the debt was rolling out of control. I'll post the video. Was under 13 trillion. If somebody told you a decade later it's 30, that'd put you in a rubber. If you went back to 2000s, we've had perpetual wars. The climate's crashed. The Great Salt Lake's gone dry when it was at record levels in 2011. The leaves never fell off the trees this year. These trees aren't dead. You can see them budding. Pray for snow, because we don't have any. All this acute catastrophe this decade. What's Fukushima? What's hyperinflation, kids? Ayn Rand, Greenspan. This is the home of Mariner Eccles. I knew him personally. Yep, that Mariner Eccles, the greatest economist that probably ever lived. These guys who teach here don't even know his name. This was the #1 school business in the United States when I taught here. Doesn't make the top 300. How can that possibly happen in 20 years? How can that possibly happen? They doubled their salary. How is that even possible? Oh, it happened. I just told you how. Ask Warren Buffett. Supply chain from China to get his cheap furniture for Alcee Willie's. I fought him. Mission accomplished. Hyperinflation explained. You dump liquidity. Not socialism. Not capitalism. Not even communism. The early Mormons were communists. On Sacred Mill. The United Order. It's imperialism. You could be the next king. You could be the next Damian Lillard. Who the fuck would want to be? Mission accomplished. Fucking hellhole. Imperialist king. Russian oligarchs? What about the American oligarchs? Their yacht club. There used to be a picture of Gates and Buffett with me with their arm around me, and I had to go home and take 3 showers. Gates stole the operating system from here. It was invented in here. This famous school. They're all dead, the Waterskers. Blackball me. Just think about this. Just think the fact they're discount selling that in the bookstore. Diachi? How about Fukushima Diachi? Watts Construction built the reactor to Fukushima. G, which is G was started here. It's called Utah Construction. The Waterskers. And they wonder why they can't win a fucking game. And they can. Lost every big game in the history of the school. You could be the next Damian Lillard. From Dick Motta's hard hats to Damian Lillard's crowns. Who the fuck would want to be? Hyperinflation. 30 trillion in debt. What the fuck do you think you're going to happen? Just flood it in there. I didn't get a stimulus check. And anybody who did cash one, you're a socialist by definition. By definition. Hi, socialist. Hi, socialist. Not me. I never took a stimulus check. Too busy fighting cancer. Given 2 months to live. Went to the bone marrow transplant on 11/11/11. Hyperinflation. Let's see. 17 trillion. Remember when the Republicans were the party of fiscal responsibility? Now they're the tax the future and give to my friends. Republicans. And then remember when the Democrats were the party of labor and environment? Now you could be the next very elitist exceptionalism. Obama. Imperialism. How did they do it? 1 by jet stream, 2 by cable TV. Mission accomplished.